Want to talk to everybody in our audience right now that if anybody goes to Disney World with their family for spring break, or goes to a beach somewhere or anywhere on vacation, and you see one of the 535 members of Congress, take a picture and send it to us at TMZ. We will post that picture on our website, on our social media, and we will put it on our television shows. We want to show what they are doing at your expense. And we want everybody to hear that. And we are waiting for those pictures.
What is this about? What's Harvey on about now?
I think this is dealing with the DHS deal that Senate, the Senate passed compromise bill overnight. Apparently, you've got Chip Roy tweeting out others that it's going to die in the House.
Oh, it's done already. I saw Johnson come out an hour ago. He came out. He said, "You have no idea how bad this is," and he started reading from it. It was a complete disaster of a bill. Complete disaster. It said to leave the borders open, no enforcement by ICE. It was just what the Democrats had in there from day one.
Oh, great.
He said, we're not going to do this. This is done. And he then said that Trump is going to pay the DHS workers through an executive order, and they're going to come back as workers, and we will proceed with this thing separately.
All right. Well, I do know that they're going after, Congress members who are going to vacation or whatever. They've already got, showed a video of Ted Cruz on a plane, but I'm thinking about it. I'm like, well, how do you know where he's going? He could be going back to his home district. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I don't begrudge any of this stuff. I mean, the Democrats have come up with a way to undermine the fabric of the nation that is also allowing them to raise money for elections because they like the chaos at the airports. The Democrats have consistently voted against any reopening of the government, any DHS funding involving ICE procedures, and they're not buckling, and they're enjoying. And this is part of the Marxist chaos, Eric, that you and I have talked about. And they are celebrating this as a fundraising victory to have chaos and pain inflicted on the American people around the country at the nation's airports. It's as simple as that. I mean, he said we've had 4 votes already, and the Democrats have voted it down 4 times to pass this legislation, and there's only so much they could do mathematically.
Yeah. It's
I mean, this is what and how they govern as the minority, by throwing monkey wrenches, even if it harms the security of the country, the American people waiting to get on planes. They do not give a shit. Their extreme base, according to people like Mark and on the people on Two-Way, they're raising money off of this. Democratic congressional candidates who look at this as the chaos being the fault of the Republican administration. And there's a lot of logic, political logic to that. I agree. I don't agree you should do it, but I agree that politically, average person sees chaos, blames sitting government.
Yeah, unfortunately, it worked for them when it came to flipping the seats.
Yeah.
I think it helped them win Virginia and New Jersey, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And this may be the first time a government shutdown of any kind has worked for...
This has really worked. You're right.
I've never seen it work before.
Yeah, this is working wonderfully for them. And they're not about to give it up now that they've caught the car. They are staying on the bumper of the car, and they will ride this until TSA agents are brought back with either funding by Elon Musk, who's offered to pay their salaries, or Trump's executive order, which they will immediately take to an appeals court to try to prevent. What's that?
Of course.
Yeah, no, which they'll try to prevent them from doing that. But there was a victory at the 8th Circuit yesterday about bail for arrested illegal aliens. This overturns the lower court ruling it was overruled already by the Eighth Circuit. Now, I think it was the Third Circuit yesterday that also reaffirmed that there's no, you don't have to allow them to post bail. You can deport them without bail. And this backs up the Supreme Court rulings.
Fine by me.
Right, but I'm saying it was a victory for Trump's mass deportation policies. From the Eighth Circuit, no bond hearing. They were demanding a lower court in San Francisco, of course, demanded that they have each individual person arrested has to have a bond hearing, which would take 11 years. Part of their scheme, again, to create chaos as the party in waiting. The Eighth Circuit and the Third Circuit both overruled that.
That figures. And while you're on San Francisco, I had another story, and now I'm trying to freaking find it. I got so many damn stories. It's mind-blowing.
It's crazy. Dude, if we did news every night, we couldn't cover the amount of news there is. I mean, it's just crazy. From New York to LA to San Francisco to Florida to Mar-a-Lago to the war to Ukraine to Iran to Gaza to Cuba. I mean, we need correspondents out in the field, Hunley.
We do, and but I do want to tuck this one in there because it is San Francisco related and almost on point. We've got this case. Andy No actually posted about it earlier. There was a San Francisco man who fatally assaulted Grandpa Vicha, who is an Asian, 84 years old, a Thai grandfather, in 2021. And the judge just let him go.
Yeah.
Literally sentenced him to an 8-year sentence and put him on probation.
Yeah.
And her thing was, oh, it doesn't help the community. It would be bad for him to.
Bad for him. Yeah. I remember reading that. It would be bad for the guy.
Yeah. Yeah. Never mind that. So again, we've got a collision in diversity here because we have
a collision in Marxist tactics versus a free capitalist society. How you deal with that? Right now, we only have one road, and that's impeachment, right?
Impeachment or voting them out of office, and it's really difficult to vote these damn judges out of office when a lot of times they run unopposed.
Yeah.
I mean, so if you have somebody and you're the only name on the ballot, guess what? You're in. You could vote for yourself.
Yeah.
That's a majority.
Yeah. And they have that here in LA. I mean, a couple of conservative sites put out ballots, information about judges every year. But it's too little too late in terms of who they are and who. Some of them say vote for this other person, don't vote at all. There's only so much you can do, especially if you're running unopposed.
Yeah, and these areas, and I understand it where somebody's saying, well, why do I want to be the one? Why do I want to go run? I have no money, no chance. Why do I want to waste all my time knocking on doors and bugging everybody when there's no chance in hell I would ever get elected?
I felt the same way when the Democratic Party asked me to run for county coroner when I was 25 years old in Greene County. I said, why do I want to do that? I'm partying. I'm having a great time. You want me to go around and look at dead bodies? I mean, give me a break. And with no money to campaign, and I think the salary was about, I want to say $8,000 a year or $11,000 a year. This was $1970, so I guess it was a little bit more than that in real dollars. But I understand, I get it. But if you don't want to violate the rules, you can't have it both ways. If you don't want to violate the rules of your society, and conservatives do not like to violate the rules of their society, the only alternative is to throw yourself on the gears of the machine and run for these things. To run for local office, to run for stuff like PT, the school board seats and everything else. You can't have it. You can't do nothing. You can't do either one. Either have civil disobedience about these things, which I strongly recommend, or you got to get involved, like Eric is saying. But you can't do nothing. You can't do either one. Say, I'm paying taxes, going to church, and playing golf. Have a nice day. Go fuck Trump for not doing it for me. I mean, like I've said repeatedly on this channel, they just have the numbers. They have more judges. They have more media. They have more stuff than we do. And unless you get more active, they're just going to keep winning.
Unfortunately, they pick a third option, and that's leaving town.
Yeah,
a lot of times that's their out is like, you know what? I'm not going to go run for office. I can't stand this, so I'm gonna pack my shit up. I've got the money, and I'm going to go. And the people who are left behind are those who cannot afford to leave town, who are, well, trapped. They're literally trapped because they can't afford it, or other circumstances, family, for example, or custody situations. I never even realized that, but you have a situation.
Custody's a big one. Custody's a big one.
Yeah. I mean, like, you can't move out of state. If you want to see your kid, you'll never see the kid, you know, and things like that. So.
And this 50% of families are divorced families nationwide. So, I mean, it's a huge chunk of people.
Yeah, which, by the way, I would argue is the Marxist dream.
Absolutely.
The more you separate the families and they're broken up, the better.
1965, when it started, no fault divorce. I mean, you know, that's really when it started.
And here we are, 60.
They write about it in books that conservatives do not read. Oh, by the way, I'm reading, what's it called? David Horowitz's book, Native Son. Unbelievable book. I cannot put this down because it talks about his parents way before him. It goes into the entire communist story of his parents. Fascinating, which is really an intimate look at two active communists in New York and their cells in the 30s, 40s, 50s, and how they were involved in this. And then he is brought up under communist rule in New York, and then he becomes Radical Son. David Horowitz. Strongly recommend this book for historical reasons about how we got to this place right now, because he becomes one of the first radicals of the new left in the 60s. And this goes back to like 64, before Berkeley, 63, before Mario Savio, before the free speech movement. Mario Savio is reading his book, Horowitz's book called Student, which becomes a bestseller as a radical manifesto in 62, 63. And he freely discusses how he became one of the leaders of the new left, taking up the mantle from the communists of the old left.
And very importantly, he converted over to the right.
Yeah, exactly.
As one of the intellectual giants on the right. And another example of that, though, if people don't realize, is Thomas Sowell.
Thomas Sowell's another one.
He started out, I think he worked for Housing and Urban Development. And as he put it, he was a socialist. He worked for the government. And when he worked for the government as a socialist, he saw how screwed it was. And that's what caused Sowell's conversion. And he's been another,
Jordan Peterson, people. Eric. What about Jordan Peterson? He started out as a socialist in the Socialist Party. And yes, as a teenager, he was working in the Marxist Socialist Parties of Canada.
Okay, well, I knew he had he has a love of communist artwork. Like, I think
that
Jordan
came from that period. That's where it
came
from.
And he's still collecting. I think he has.
I collected it too. I had huge Chinese poster art, communist poster art that I collected too when I was on the other side. So yeah, no, it's a thing. It's definitely a thing.
Wow. So it's not just the Shea t-shirts. It goes beyond that.
No. It's for people who are into it. That's the Shea t-shirts are just like the Disneyland crowd. There's a deeper level.
All right. Well, good indoctrination art. All right. Well, we have a couple breaking stories. It's really difficult to try to get this. I plan the show out. I have a bunch of stories, and then a lot of things break. So we'll start off with. It appears. Does Tiger Woods have a substance abuse problem?
No. You think? No, obviously he does, but he's arrested now. He's under arrest. He's flipped his car at some high speed level. Got to go to a fast speed to flip your car, Eric. You can't just roll over like I did, catching the lip of a hill and at 30 miles an hour, rolling into a ravine when I was drunk. But apparently he's been arrested for DUI, according to my golf correspondent.
Well, I did see that Trump commented on it. And
he did? Wow.
Yeah, he's like, I'm very close to him. I feel bad about the situation. Let me find that. I did save that clip somewhere, but not here. All right.
Okay.
Sorry again. Too many clips. But you know what? I do have a clip here that I wanted to share. It's out of your neck of the woods, California, and it's in the theme with the communistic line we were discussing.
I like that line.
Yeah, it's your well, somebody that's going to lose on the mayoral election, Spencer Pratt or whatever.
Yeah.
But he did have a good comeback.
What do you think? You know, you're known as a reality TV star. Do you think that that is, in your campaign for Los Angeles mayor to run the biggest city in California, is that a label that you embrace? Is that hurtful to your campaign, or does it help, you think?
I mean, the reality, pun intended, is that was from 20 years ago. And if we look at what Karen Bass was doing 20 years ago, she was in Cuba learning how to make bombs with the people that would then go bomb Capitol Hill. So if we're looking at backgrounds, I'm pretty
That's not really
proud
true.
of what I was doing at 20 on reality television, even though it was, you know, I may not have been the most likable character. It was still TV versus trying to destroy America and going to Cuba 20 times and praising Fidel Castro. So against my opponent, my background's pretty strong.
Again, she leaves out something that's of interest to her job, her own job in the California political spectrum. There was a guy who became not the mayor of Los Angeles, but the governor of California, who was an actor in movies. And so if I was managing the campaign of Spencer Pratt, that would have been my answer. That why didn't you ask that of Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger, that he was an actor also, who went on to successfully manage a 40 million person state called California.
Yeah, or another reality star who runs the country at the moment.
Or even Ronald Reagan, who was a movie star. I mean, the attacks on Pratt are so stupid because they try to gaslight everyone. They're so retarded. And in fact, you know, if it wasn't for Nithya Raman, who was in the race at about 16%, if she wasn't in the race, and I think she's in the race to undermine Spencer Pratt's numbers, Pratt would be leading the race right now.
Wow, sad.
But this race is getting really interesting, Eric, because of a ruling yesterday by the IOC that stunned the world, the banning of transgender women in sports. One of the most incredible rulings to come from the International Olympic Committee since I've been a kid, going back to Mexico City in 1968. This ruling regarding XY chromosomes and the banning of trans athletes has stunned the world, and this will affect the outcome of the election here in Los Angeles, because Karen Bass, who's the ambassador to the Olympics in 2028, now has to come out and denounce the ruling by the International Olympic Committee, at the same time having a smile and hosting the arrival of the Olympics in 2028, because her people that put her in office are the same people that support trans ideology. Raman, who supports trans ideology, within 48 hours, I predict, will be attacking Karen Bass for not denouncing the IOC. If you see where I'm going with this, this earthquake bomb, which it doesn't really affect anyone other than these two women and the city of Los Angeles right now. It affects sports, obviously, Olympic level sports. That's a given, fantastic ruling. But nobody, including the California Post, have yet picked up on the political explosion that's going to occur when both sides figure out how explosive this issue is against each other.
Yeah, as Colonel Inga said, so you're telling me the trans boxer won't be able to defend his, her title?
Yeah, that's right. They won't even be allowed into competition, which is fine. However, the Olympics are coming to Los Angeles, and this is ground zero for transgender ideology and politics. So they are going to, the mayor can't ignore this. She can't simply light the torch, walk around LA with trans people being banned from the freaking Olympics. She has got to, politically, if she's consistent, there'll be pressure on her to make a statement by her money people. She will have to denounce the decision while being the ambassador, and Trump is going to pick up on this too. because Trump put out a long Truth Social post this morning about her cronyistic policy of replacing all the broken lights in LA and not spending the money to fix them, but rather give hundreds of millions of dollars for 60,000 streetlights, solar powered, from her crony friends from China. This was her bragging today about her mayoral campaign, that she is going to, instead of fixing them, which they don't have the money for, she has somehow found the money to replace 60,000 streetlights with solar powered streetlights. And that money will go to her NGO crony friends.
Right on schedule.
Right on schedule.
A nice little win for her.
Trump caught it so quick. That post was so long and so specific. He is so onto this, broad.
But it's a real estate thing. I mean, as a builder, that's the stuff that he's
right. But he I don't know if you have a copy of it, but he pointed out the lack of law enforcement of the criminals who kept stealing the copper wiring, allowed them to keep stealing the copper wiring, making it too expensive to replace the damaged lights. So they again spend money they don't have to start from scratch. They have a swimming pool down the street from me in a city park here that has a few cracks in the bottom of it. So instead of sealing the cracks, they've decided to build an entire new swimming pool at the cost of over $40 million, which will take 3.5 years. And people have now caught on to this. People are catching on to it because media is starting to really catch on to, especially with the New York Post coming out here. These stories are really, really getting gravitas.
The problem is that I look forward to seeing it actually change something. It's like,
yes. So we're just getting the attention. He's looking for change. There's never been any attention on this, Eric.
I know. Well, I'm being realistic. You busted my balls when I say,
no, hey, look, it's not a question of ball busting. It's a question of now we're finally getting media focus on these stories, and they're squirming like fat rats in boiling oil. They are freaking the freak out over here over the coverage now. I'm so overjoyed by this.
Well, great. I really I hope to see some mass changes occur from it now.
Well, they could start by taking the trans men out of women's prison. The feds are now coming into this Newsom law probe of running these trans men under Newsom's guidance be allowed into women's prison, where they are committing all kinds of physical, sexual crimes.
Oh, yeah.
And the federal government is now coming in, I think, to take over the prisons and get these people out of there. State prisons, that is.
No. But that's been going on, not only in California, but I think New Jersey had that issue. And, shockingly, I know everybody be shocked that these trans females, they wind up in a female prison. All of a sudden, pregnancies go through the roof for some crazy reason. I don't know what's happening, because I guess it's a weird homosexuality procreation setup.
By the way, there were today also breaking news: no charges against the ICE agent who ended the life of that Minnesota woman. That was surprisingly good news. Fannie Willis.
Anyone already was
right. Yeah,
already was okay.
This was the earlier one. Yeah,
right.
Fannie Willis in a court document revealed to be having sex with the 77-year-old.
That was a satire site, I believe.
I still like the satire, though.
I know, but I want to.
Can't we be satire, or we're not allowed to be satire?
Well, we can.
What do you make of Trump signing the dollar bill?
Well, why not?
It's the first time in, I think, 156 years, Eric.
Okay. I mean, I tell me more on that. I said
the dollar bill, as we know it, will have Trump's signature on it. It's usually the Treasury Secretary and the Treasurer, either one or the other or both. We have not had a presidential signature, if my mind is correct, in 156 years on American currency.
It doesn't bother me. I mean,
it's not a question of bothering me. It's the greatest news I've ever heard. Why would it bother you?
Well, why do a dollar? Why not 100?
I don't know. But Larry was talking about on a separate issue that the reason they're naming everything after Trump is because they realized internally that once he's out of office, this will never happen. So they are now aggressively doing it because they realize the hatred for him is so off the charts that any normal approach that you would do for Reagan Airport or any of the normal things that happen are not going to happen with him.
That's true. Of course, depending on who's elected, we might have a regime change type of scenario where everything gets torn down the day they get in, and they'll go crazy like oh, it's Mount McKinley out, Gulf of Mexico.
Well, let me tell you something. I watched the entire press conference of Secretary of State, multiple hat wearing Marco Rubio at the tarmac in Paris of the G7 conference. It was brilliant. I mean, this guy was just winging it. I took on all comers, all questions, complete sentence answers, specific, masterful, Eric. It was fun to watch, except for the two clowns who were in back of him underneath the plane. During the course of this press conference, which was great, Marco Rubio was unfucking believable and totally presidential. In the back were two black dudes. I don't even know what to say, except for shucking and jiving and punching each other and hitting each other and laughing and telling stories underneath the plane. Take a look if you can of the two guys in the back, what they're doing back there during this entire press conference. This is just a little snippet that I pulled. They are either cops or runway guys. I'm not sure what their job is, but look at
potentially
look at what they're doing. This went on the whole press conference. What do you think they are back there?
Yeah, well, they're just standing around waiting. What do they care?
No. I found it to be fascinating. I couldn't tell if they were ground crew or French police or whatever they were. But the juxtaposition between the Secret Service and them in back of completely oblivious to what's going on, while Rubio gives this masterful press conference, I just thought it was, I don't know, to me, it looked like a Monty Python sketch.
No, I agree. Actually, while we've got that, we've got a counterpoint because I just saw something earlier. JD Vance, I don't know if you saw, apparently he was on with, who was it? Benny Johnson.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it might be a CPAC thing. I don't know the reason why he was on, but I know that you had a close encounter and you're interested in UAPs or whatever the term of the week is. Apparently so is JD Vance, and he has some thoughts on what they are. So about a minute in, you'll hear
right on.
Talk about Ilhan Omar and Tim Walz. And obviously Ilhan Omar, the president and the White House have been out saying that she married her brother, that there is immigration fraud going on here. These are deportable, denaturalization.
My mistake. This is him talking about Ilhan Omar. So we can watch that. And
yeah, that's good too.
Plenty of prosecuting her.
I like that. Offenses. Can you give us an update on that?
Yeah, so we actually think that Ilhan Omar definitely committed immigration fraud against the United States of America. And I talked to Stephen Miller about this actually recently. We're trying to look at what the remedies are. That's the thing that we're trying to figure out is what are the legal remedies now that we know that she's committed immigration fraud? How do you go after her? How do you investigate her? How do you actually do the thing? How do you build the case necessary to get some
I don't understand what's so difficult
for the American people? There's a related issue, Benny, which is she has been at the center of a lot of the worst fraudsters in the Somalian community. So do I know that Ilhan Omar was aware that the Quality Leering Center was defrauding the American people? I'm not certain.
I like that he said Leering Center. Give him credit for that.
Yeah, that was funny. No, but I don't understand. What is so complicated? He was obviously obfuscating the situation as a good politician, saying we're going to look at it, and it was more bullshit from him on avoiding this topic. What is so complicated? I mean, the law's on the books. Just follow the letter of the law.
Yeah, I agree.
They don't want to do it. They don't want to do it. He didn't want to say that, so he said some mumbo jumbo. And like a smooth politician, you got to tip your hat to him. He switched it to trying to link her to the fraud, which is fine also if you want to link it to the fraud.
But
then prosecute. Look, we hired you, bro. Don't tell us what, you discovered and not do anything. And this is not to come down on JD Vance. I'm just saying you're telling us why we hired you to deal with this shit. What do you want us to do, bro? You've got a Justice Department there with $1 billion budget. You're telling us you found out she's committed immigration fraud and you're going to have to look at it? What are you going to have to look at? You just deported 2 million people with the same rulings. Why is she what are you looking at? Well, there's issues, Well, what are the issues? I don't understand. Why is it so complicated? Everybody keeps saying she committed immigration fraud, but nobody seems to do anything, Eric.
I agree. Well, and this is the fun one. Now I have the UAP, so I apologize.
Okay, go ahead.
All the UFO files.
We're working on it. It's funny. When I came in, I was obsessed with the UFO files. And then you start getting really busy worrying about the economy and national security and things like that. But I've still got 3 more years as vice president. I will get to the bottom of the UFO files.
Okay. Have you peeked? Have you done a peek?
Have I what?
Have you done a peek? Have you
So I actually haven't. I have
full
not.
Independence Day.
I have not been able to spend enough time on this to really understand it. Yeah. But I am going to. Trust me. I'm obsessed.
Okay, with this. Let me translate this for you because every government official has said the same thing. It's fascinating. I'm going to get to you could go all the way back to Bill Clinton. This is the common party line regarding UFOs since 1992.
All right. Well, let's play it out though, because he does give a new piece of information.
Okay.
Listen. Okay. I'll skip some.
UFOs in Ohio.
Hangar 18. Hangar 18. Right. I've heard that as well. But I don't know. I haven't looked into it yet.
Okay. All right. Well, we're waiting for it. We saw aliens.gov. We saw aliens.gov.
I don't think they're aliens. I think they're demons anyway, but that's a longer discussion.
Well, I can't let you go without a follow-up on that. Because Barack Obama is on this podcast and he goes, yeah, aliens are real, but here's where they're not. And
I did not.
And so Obama says, yes, aliens he gets asked point blank, are aliens real? Oh yeah. And then he goes, but they're not at Area 51. And
where are they?
Well, that's what he said.
So that was I thought the demons. I've never heard that. That was a new approach, Mark.
Well, it might have been some affiliation from his friend Tucker Carlson, who reports on demons attacking people all the time. That sounds like a complete Tucker Carlsonology using terminology of his buddy Tucker Carlson. Hangar 18 happens to be in Ohio. That's what Benny Johnson was talking about. Curtis LeMay, the great general, was banned from looking in the famous Hangar 18. You could look at our Curtis LeMay episode. There's a lot of stuff, and all he's doing is literally, physically laughing it off in your face. And this is something that people take very seriously, and either you're going to take it seriously or not. Laughing it off is not going to help anybody. That is the typical political answer to this stuff. But Benny Johnson, to his credit, was trying to hold his feet to the flame here a little bit.
Yeah, I mean,
saying that it's in your state, Ohio, Hangar 18. He diverts that by talking about Area 51 in New Mexico, but Hangar 18 is not in New Mexico. It's in his state.
Right, and that's why. Well, he deflected. He goes, "Yeah, I heard of that.
Yeah, I heard of that. Yeah,
but I know.
Well, he's going to get to the bottom of it. I sadly don't agree that that's going to happen, as this has been the party line since 1992.
Yeah, it has. Now, okay, you sent me this earlier. Asked if we could play it. I don't know what is going on this. Some sort of bombing. I think this is the other breaking news.
Yeah, that's in MacDill. This is breaking news. MacDill Air Force Base in Florida. You can play the little clip. Go ahead.
And first off, can you kind of break down for me your understanding of how this guy was able to get away and what can really be done at this point to track him down?
Well, obviously, what you just recited on the facts, he put the bomb out at MacDill at the visitor center on the evening of the 10th of March. He immediately began to make preparations to leave the country. Before he put it in a secluded location, he put a 911 call in that didn't tell us where the bomb was. After that, he went back and they bought tickets to go to China. Literally the next day, they sold the automobile that he used to move the improvised explosive device. And literally the next day, the 12th, within 48 hours, less than 48 hours, he was on a plane to China.
Yeah, they've arrested his sister as a co-conspirator who is in Florida. She did not get away. He planted these IEDs, very professional, at a United States Air Force base, this one, MacDill in Florida, and immediately got the airline tickets, sold everything, and went back to China, where good luck getting extradition, which he had a press conference today, that guy, who is the prosecuting attorney, U.S. attorney from the middle of Florida, talking about the IEDs and how they were planted. He phoned in this 911 thing later. Didn't say where they were, of course, so that didn't really help. He wanted to create chaos on the base, forcing mass evacuations so the Chinese could see, I believe, how we reacted. And then he sold his belongings, got the tickets, flew back to China, and he's half-assing now, wishful thinking, trying to extradite him from China. We do have his sister, however. So it was a brother-sister bombing team of Chinese nationals.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, not to be confused with the arrest this week of the Chinese national and the 2 Americans for attempting to steal AI tech and transfer it to China. Those 3 were arrested, I believe, up in Massachusetts. This was yet another Chinese espionage story. I'm not going to miss any of them, folks.
Which was a follow-up to our story about the Iranians in Silicon Valley who were also stealing technology and bringing it over.
Well, they also hacked the emails of the FBI director.
Yeah. That's I got that story, and nobody's denying it either. It is
I know.
Fully got hacked, and so, folks, keep this in mind. If you think that you can go to the FBI or the Department of Justice because you've gotten criminally hacked, well, now you know. There's not much they can do about it either.
Yeah, it happens to them too. I just wanted to get back to Newsom and Benny Johnson, because we've had them both mentioned here today. Again, Newsom going to this homosexual slur on Benny Johnson because he talked about the fact that the fraud investigations were starting to tighten the noose around Newsom's administration here. Again, Newsom tweeted out that sarcastically, they were just contacted by Grindr and that Benny Johnson is their biggest customer. This is the 3rd time Newsom and his office have used homophobic insults as retaliation against political enemies. And now even the people on the left are getting uncomfortable with his homophobic slurs, and including the Civil Rights Division. Harmy Dillon came out with a statement that he might be cited with hate language violations because of his repeated use of homophobic slurs against his opponents.
Yeah, that one should not fly on his front. One would think that would go against everything on the left. And what's curious, though, is the person who started all this is Milo Yiannopoulos. Remember?
Yeah, but I'm getting. I don't care about Milo.
No, but I'm just saying.
I care about the leading Democratic candidate.
Part of an op.
Yeah, the leading Democratic candidate for president keeps using homophobic slurs against anyone who criticizes him. This is just crazy, Eric. And yesterday, he started crying openly at a press conference about providing 10,000 public service jobs, some sort of California Peace Corps initiative regarding climate change, of giving 10,000 young men jobs to restore faith in young men. And he started crying again. I mean, as Greg is pointing out, Greg Kelly, who's taking excerpts of his new book, he's mentally unstable. In fact, Trump mentioned it yesterday in an off-the-cuff remark that this guy's mentally unstable.
Well, maybe Halpern's onto something.
And maybe Greg Kelly analyzing that book is so crazy. His new memoir, A Man in a Hurry, I think it's called.
So Greg in his book, so he's got the joke.
Oh, he's been doing this for years. Yeah, this is his thing. He takes these books. It's a little hard to watch because he takes segments of the books, puts it on the screen, then comments, then puts another segment, then comments, then a second, and you got to read it. And then it's a little much in terms of TV viewing. But there's a lot of information in there.
No, I mean, it must work. He keeps doing it. So somebody is responding to to that, or he dropped a segment.
I am. I'm responding to it.
Well, there you go. He's doing it only.
For me, I take screenshots and I give them to you.
And I do want to point out that there is a how do I say an explicit permission slip on the left, though. Like we were saying, hey, how is he going to hurl a homophobic remark? Blah blah blah. You don't get it. Benny Johnson is a right winger, so therefore he is no longer officially gay. The same way as anybody black, like Clarence Thomas, is no longer black. There's a rule there. So
well, there's a little bit more meat on the bone. One of Benny Johnson's enemies on the right outed him as being on Grindr. So
yeah, Milo Yiannopoulos.
Right. So that's where they're getting it from, by people on the conservative right going against Benny Johnson's apparent Christian roots or whatever, trying to undermine Benny Johnson, who denied it, by the way.
Well, he's been fighting the issue right now.
Yeah,
he's got multiple kids and things like that. But yeah, I'm not. I agree. That's why I said Milo Yiannopoulos is involved. But I was just saying that the permission slip I always found very interesting and hypocritical. That if you're somebody like Nate the lawyer, he gets called.
What happened to him?
He gets called COON all the time.
COON? Really?
Yes, and Uncle Tom.
Wait, I get Jewish
if somebody
all
is
the
black
time.
and they say anything conservative, then all the racist terms get flown at them, and it's perfectly fine.
I see what you're saying. I just want to finish up Rubio on that press conference on the runway, talking about the Ukraine Russian war. There was multiple questions about that because he was in Europe, and he said Zelensky was a liar. They never said to Zelensky that he had to give up the Donetsk region in order to get security from us. And Rubio was emphatic, saying we cannot provide security until you end the war. He said if we provide security, it was really humorously emphatic, Rubio. He said if we provide security while the war is going on, then we are combatants in the war. He said, so once again, Zelensky has lied, and we have told him our demands. He refuses to accept them, and he will pay the price of Russian aggression against him until he agrees to American demands that he refuses to agree to. So Zelensky apparently has the ear of the Europeans who are telling him to stay the course. And Trump has washed his hands of it because they told Rubio and Trump told Zelensky what he had to agree to get security, post-war security, Eric. You know what I mean?
Right.
And he refuses to do that. And Rubio implied that it looks like they have to get pounded even more by the Russians.
I mean,
it's shocking, but not shocking, to quote Eric Hunley, because this guy is a stooge of other powers. He took our money, but we don't own this cat. He's being run by EU commies who are battling the former communist Soviet Union. They are now the Soviet Union, the people who own Zelensky. That's the Soviet European Union, as I call it. And they're supplying him with money and arms as this thing continues. And they're demanding that he not agree to our terms to keep it going.
Well, they're his benefactors.
They're benefactors.
I mean, obviously his source here dried up once Trump was elected. So I mean, it is what it is. And I do want to say, no matter what, I do feel sorry for the Ukrainians who are dying in this mess. While we're, Zelensky and everybody else is twiddling thumbs, there's people dying, and that is just not cool. As you've brought up many, many, many times, how many people have died in this war so far? It's incredible.
Horrible, there's an easy off ramp, and the fact that they propped up Zelensky as the man, they now gone to the dance with this guy. And unless they eliminate him and try, like they did in Venezuela, to get somebody else to deal with here, they're going to be stuck with getting slaughtered by the Russians. And believe me, they're running out of people and arms and everything else in Ukraine. If I was winning a war, I would keep pressing that war until I got what I wanted. I wouldn't just, you know, have a ceasefire because the other side is losing. I mean, just the history of war.
Sure.
By the way, did you know this? That somebody said we have a military history in the United States going back to the Revolutionary War of knocking off leaders of opposing armies in battle. That this is U.S. historic military policy. If anybody knows this, it was on two-way this morning. That we use snipers to take out British generals during the Revolutionary War. And that's why this goes to this day of us taking out Iranian commanders and Iranian leaders and leaders around the world. This is somehow, according to what I heard this morning, part of a military history in the United States.
I haven't heard that.
Either have I. Either have I. But I just put it out there for the people at home who may have some more historical information about this militarily.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if they're going to be.
That other countries don't do this, but this is our specialty.
Okay. No, I'd have to see more. I'm trying to think of history, and I'm like, are they going to claim Stonewall Jackson was part of that? But then, you know, generals were fighting, so generals got taken out. We lost generals too. I don't know. It's a weird.
I'm just saying what the guy said. I don't know if it's true or not. He seemed pretty confident as a military historian, but maybe there's some other people out there.
Well, whatever. I'm gonna. You know what? I want to jump to something that's a little bit more amusing. I don't know if you saw this story. In Oklahoma, we had a transgender or trans male lawyer who was not happy and went through all.
And they got emotional issues. They really can't get their emotions under control.
Oh yeah, this one really.
Let's take a look, Eric.
You interrupt me one more time, you are being held in direct contempt with court, and yes, you can wipe that smirk off.
I don't have a smirk on my face.
Oh yes, you do.
I do not.
I am not going to tolerate this from you, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Fill out the request if it's
my client's not seen her child. There is no order in this court, and there's been no jurisdiction.
Now watch for a second and watch what happens with the phone, because that's going to be significant.
Found that this court has jurisdiction over this child who has never lived in your county. Never lived. I did not. There was a pause. There was a break. I wasn't done with my arguments.
And I was not done with my statement. You interrupted again. Do not throw your.
I did not throw. It fell off the bench.
Oh my God!
What is that? Something a teenager would say? I did not throw. It fell off the bench.
Stop stating things that are not true, man. I did not throw. It fell off.
Oh yeah, it fell off the bench. Anyway, but it just gets better.
Do not throw your.
I did not throw. It fell off the bench. Please stop stating things that are not true, ma'am.
Wow.
Sir, you've got a room full of witnesses.
I do. I put it down. I did. I put it down and it fell down. I did not fall.
Then settle down.
I'm not upset and I'm not arguing. You're not letting me make a.
And by the way, this individual is definitely not all the way to male yet, because you never tell females settle down. That triggers them to the moon. If you ever say settle down.
Also, his voice, he hasn't had enough steroids. His voice is still pretty.
Yeah, it's
argument. I'm not red in the face, ma'am. I'm not.
So our court reporter cannot get what we're both saying.
I am trying to make my argument. You interrupted my argument halfway through.
All right, well, I'm going to skip forward.
You do.
The other lawyer's smart enough to say, I'm just going to.
What? He's got no dog in the hunt.
No, he's like, let this guy.
Yeah, bury himself.
Is your client available telephonically?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Well, then get her on the phone.
Thank you.
Your Honor, to which we would object. This is as clear as the nose on my face that this woman will not appear before this court because she has a warrant for stealing.
Objection.
Whoa,
that's not true.
Whoa.
And you're ready.
You will find, sir.
Don't put at me. It's over me. Don't shout at me.
I'm not putting no, we're stopping.
Get out of my face, sir. Get out of my face, sir.
He's not even close to him.
Get out of my face.
You should leave this county.
Yeah.
Get out of my face. Get out of my
These
face.
people are my friends, and you're being ugly.
And get out of my face.
All right, you ready for the drama? Here we go.
That was fun up till then.
Oh, it gets better.
Why?
Because you're in direct contempt of court.
He shouted at me. No, I'm not being, you did not even say that I was in
You are
contempt.
indirect.
No, I'm not doing my stuff. Do not hurt me. Do not hurt me.
Wow.
Your hands on your back.
Do not. Are you throwing me over this?
Stop resisting.
I'm not resisting.
Okay.
Then put your hands behind your
You
back.
know exactly what's happening. Calm down.
Settle down, walk that way.
Settle down. Do not grab me. Do
Oh,
not
my
grab me. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Don't do it. I can't breathe. I can't breathe.
You're talking, so you're breathing. You're talking. How come you're breathing?
Sorry, I can't go any further because of YouTube, but everybody,
Boy, that's entertaining, Eric.
It is highly entertaining, and I love how it goes right to the I can't breathe. It's
Yeah.
like, okay.
Oh, this guy had all the bullet points of the left in one episode. In your face, hurting me. I'm not in contempt. I didn't throw my phone. I can't breathe. It's a greatest hits album.
Yeah, it is. We'll call it Trans Floyd here.
Trans Floyd greatest hits. Oh my Lord. He's going in the Hall of Fame. He's going in the leftist Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio.
Yeah, definitely had to share that one. Got to have the amusing moments here and there, because that is chef's kiss.
I think we should show that every couple of weeks just to get back on track and have some fun.
I think so. I think so.
Just a little snippet of it, like they do on radio, where they play a little clip. They drop in some of the talk radio I listen to. They usually drop in these things by politicians yelling, imbecilic remarks, and it's on a loop.
Yeah, and normally I've been so annoyed with judges lately that it's fair to show the other side. And I've got one more. It's along the same path of that.
Okay.
This is I'll let it play for itself.
You cannot be driving, ma'am. What are you doing? Come on.
I'm not driving. I'm a passenger in a car.
You're still not. I'm not hearing cases with people driving or as passengers in cars.
Okay, I will pull over right now.
Short of us coming out to everybody's house and doing these on boats and stuff in the summer, I don't know.
I'm sorry, I have an emergency. I'm going out of town for a family member, but I will have my driver pull over. Hang on 1 second. I'm sorry. I didn't know that I wasn't allowed to be in a car, but hang on 1 second.
Am I crazy, or does it not look like you're driving that car?
I'm not driving the car. I'm a passenger in the car, sir.
What side of the car are you on?
Hold on.
I'm on the left-hand side.
How would you be on the left-hand side if you're a passenger in the front seat? Am I missing something?
Right-hand side. I'm sorry. I've been sitting in a room. I didn't know.
Yeah, the seatbelt's coming off of the driver's side. Right? Now you're lying to me, right?
No, I'm not, sir.
What?
Let me see the driver.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
Let me see the driver.
Did you see her look?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Hang on 1 second.
Now.
I have to ask their permission.
Now.
Oh my God.
What is she doing?
Trying to figure out her way.
Yeah, she's trying to get an exit strategy.
No,
where's she going? She left the driver's
the driver's side.
Do you think I'm that stupid? I'm going to go ahead and enter a default judgment. Our paperwork says that they can't drive. Does it not, Jennifer?
I'm sorry, Your Honor. I took a breath in and started choking. Well, I missed what
Does
you
our
said.
paperwork not tell people that they can't be in a car?
I don't know, Your Honor. I'd have to look at it again. I haven't looked at it in a while.
Looking at it does not say that I cannot be in a car.
I'm entering a default judgment. You lied to me. Judgment 1921-85. Send me your counsel and put in there defendant was not.
Anyway, those people who are pointing out, yes, it's true that the camera can reverse itself and mirror, then she could just show the other person who's driving. It was so blatantly a lie. And her initial answer, what side of the car you're on? Left.
Yeah, no,
Folks,
it was silly. It was silly. Yeah,
unbelievable lie.
She's a liar, and she was caught in a lie. She doesn't care. Women lie at a rate of 8 times more than men, according to a fairly historic Gallup poll a number of years back. They have to because of the power imbalance. Surviving with a caveman, sometimes women have to lie to survive physically. And apparently the rate is about 8 times that of males.
I've seen that before. I don't remember the details. Yeah.
It was actually a Gallup poll, I think, originally came out.
Fair enough. Well, I do have another article, and this one is actually in the description ahead of time. And we do cover things about, drugs and weed, whether it's good, bad, otherwise. And it appears that we have not only a drug problem with people, but it's an interspecies drug problem now. And so we have a problem with cocaine sharks.
Oh boy, this is like Sharknado, but it's
exactly
Sharkane.
Yep, they're testing
Look how happy he is on
for cocaine in the Caribbean, all over the place, and they are blaming tourists for this.
Yeah.
Apparently, hey, you drop a bag off the boat, the shark gets a little bit hungry. What are you gonna do here? So it's kind of like I never thought it would go this far. They did the survey. What was it that like every $100 bill that there's like a small percentage of cocaine on every one of them or something like that. Well, now we've got a cocaine percentage in sharks that are in the Caribbean.
Well, is it making them more aggressive, or are they hypersexual? Or, I mean, what effect is it having on these man eaters?
Well, maybe it's making them very talkative. I'm not sure.
They're staying up all night watching Gilbert Gottfried comedy. That's weird. That's a lot of cocaine there on the bottom that you're showing there.
Oh, that would be quite a bit of cocaine.
Yeah.
That might even be fatal. I don't know what their immune systems are like, but
well, I think it's in the water, though. It may not even be that they're eating the cocaine. It may be that it's in, like it is here. They've done a lot of studies here that show that pharmaceutical drugs is in the ocean right off of the coast of LA, coming out of the disposable waste.
Okay, well, they are saying that they're chopping the drug packets too.
Oh, okay, all right.
So okay, I don't know, and it may not even be them.
I can only recommend Cocaine Bear, one of the greatest movies of all time. A bear that eats the cocaine of these drug dealers and goes crazy.
Okay, so we've got cocaine bears, cocaine sharks. So
yeah.
Theme of the day is cocaine, and then now we'll go back to the humans. So I was going to say also other fish could be consuming it, and the sharks could be consuming the fish and getting the cocaine for that.
Right.
Well, or it could be tourists that are really amped up that might not be making it back. Who knows? There's a lot of ways to feed a shark, but I've had this one for like 2 or 3 episodes. We never really got into it, but we've talked about it before, and it's scromating.
Scromating we've talked about before, but just to get back to Cocaine Bear, I think it was one of Ray Liotta's last movies with Kerry Russell. So just to give a shout out to the last Ray Liotta movie. But yeah, Scromating, go on.
All right, so we've got scromating, which apparently is a truly agonizing scenario where they're screaming and vomiting all at one time. And it appears that vaping is the top cause for it.
Right, especially specifically the weed pen. There is a pen you could buy, a vape pen you can buy that's fully loaded with cannabis. You buy it as an entire product. And they said in the study that over 95% of the people with scromating were using the vaping weed pen
is
method.
That dabs, or is that something?
No, it's just a vape that's preloaded with weed. You go in and you buy it, you light it like it's a vape, like it's you're smoking.
I've read somewhere that vaping was like the answer to smoking or whatever, but there are some who say that vaping is as bad or worse than smoking, and I'm talking even like vaping. And
well, it's got its own toxins in there. I mean, it's got its own toxicology problems, But they came out with another study yesterday. Again, this is not the first time. Yeah, no evidence medical cannabis epic times alleviates anxiety, depression, PTSD. I don't know how many studies they have to do these poor scientists who are tasked with seeing if any of these drugs, this was all created by the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws. You want to talk about APAC? Normal as a lobby has done more damage to the
name, by the way.
Normal, yeah, they intentionally came up with it to normalize and decriminalize, legalize all drugs. And the damage that lobby has done to the American public is still being calculated, because now they've moved on to psychedelics to try to use the same logic, the same illogic that it cures treats depression, anxiety, and PTSD, psychedelics that they use to legalize marijuana. And now the studies, the science is usually so far behind the politics, because the politics is driven by money. The amount of money that they spread around Congress was enormous. It took 10, 20 years of spreading money around, but they were victorious. And now they're moving into psychedelics with the same strategy, because it worked. It actually worked.
Well, and by the way, that answer, or we should address that, because a lot of people talk about the whole slippery slope is a fallacy and all that. But how many times have we seen it now where we say, okay, well, as soon as you make cannabis legal, they're going to be trying to make heroin and everything else legal. Well,
yeah.
We've already seen the path, and it's doing that same thing here.
They are doing it. I mean, they have legislation pending and on the books in Oregon and in San Francisco and Washington State about psychedelics. But you don't understand, Mark. I took psychedelics and it was great. I was in college at the time. So it was great for me. So it should be great for the entire nation of 360 million people.
Yes. And other
I say mockingly in case people are watching.
Right. Well, this is the same argument that some people were making about gay marriage, for example. And gay marriage, well, I'm not really against that. It did, sure enough, there are people trying to push laws saying, okay, well, now that that's legal, well, let's go for polyamorous. Let's go for polygamy.
Right.
And then it becomes what they call it maps. You want to talk about new terms?
Yeah, they always
You've heard of maps before, right?
I'd rather not get into that.
Everybody look up maps. I'm not going to go
stop saying the word maps, will you, Hunley? We know what it is. Stop it.
All maps need to be on the wall.
Stop saying maps.
All the maps need to be on the wall.
Stop it. Stop it. I just want to say that apparently, despite all the troubles that we have down in Texas, that Paxton is expanding his lead exponentially over the corrupt Cornyn down there, Eric. Polls now have him pulling away, and people are saying that Trump will endorse no one now.
No, I mean, well, because he likes his record. Why would you endorse somebody, knowingly, and then you lose it? Then you just look like a schmuck,
right?
If you do. So, I mean, he's not stupid, but speaking of which, Cornyn is also not at CPAC, which is in Grapevine.
He would have been destroyed at CPAC.
I know, but it's his home state. So if the state, the guy who's a Republican senator can't be at the Conservative Political Action Committee, that's kind of a problem, isn't it?
Well, what isn't a problem is the new apparent rock star at CPAC this week, and that's Nick Shirley, who is apparently being heralded as a rock star there this week. So tip of the hat to Nick Shirley.
Tip of the hat, but
here goes Hunley again.
Well,
you can't leave well enough alone.
I can't help that he's a huge Groubert fan.
Okay.
So I hope that his Groubert adjacent qualities are just slightly distant, but he is
all right. I'm the first one to be upset about Groiperism. So I have to support Hunley's charges there. Now, what do you think happened down in Mar-a-Lago where that Republican seat was flipped right in Trump's backyard?
I don't know who the candidate is. Who was the Republican? Were they, a piece of shit? Were they terrible? I mean,
I don't know, but it's a state or an area that Trump carried pretty strongly. They're running out of explanations as to having these seats flipped, Hunley. They're running out of rational explanations as to why you know what I mean? I'm getting at, there seems to be too many of them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, guess what? We're heading into midterms, and what happens during the midterms with almost every president?
Yeah. How many seats do you think they'll win by?
House 20 to 30 potentially.
Yeah, that's what I think too. Yeah, I think so also. I'm saying 25.
Hopefully they can hold on and at least keep Senate 50-50, but
I think they will because of Collins being an untouchable up there, and they just don't have the numbers to reverse the Senate. But this 25-seat swing in the House, you are never going to hear from some of the people you've been hearing from every night, and that is like the pole dancer, Comer, all of these characters that you've been seeing and hearing for 2 years are now going to disappear from political public view.
Yeah,
because they're going to be physically replaced. So,
no, sure. I mean, they're no longer going to be on committees. They won't run the committees. And by the way, this means that if there's no more MLK, JFK, RFK, that's out the window. There'll be no more hearings about that shit.
No, that's never happening again. You know, maybe if they didn't spend so much time on that stuff, which you and I loved, but is not really pertinent to today, and more focus on Russiagate and things of that nature, they might have been victorious in the midterms.
Yeah.
Okay.
But sadly, it doesn't seem to be making a difference. So let me, okay, I've got another story. And this is close enough to the Caribbean, and maybe we should, maybe the sharks are hungry, but we have some spring breakers.
Oh my God.
In America.
Dude, it's just out of control.
No, this is right on schedule.
What issue facing America is the most important to you?
What bikini I'm gonna wear next? Obesity is terrible.
ICE, not personally, I'm legal.
Getting a tan on the beach. That's the most important thing in my life right now.
I'm thinking about Starbucks, to be honest. I'm thinking about Starbucks, what I'm gonna get for today.
The elevators don't work. You got 43 floors. The elevators don't work.
I could take this little glass of water, drop it in the magnets. That's the end of the elevator.
What have you heard that Donald Trump has been doing recently?
Gulf of America. That's the last thing I kept up with.
We're going to war with Iraq. That's been crazy.
What do you do in Colombia? You got Maduro out? I don't with Trump, but that done.
He's like trying to sue those people for making jokes about him.
600 times! You must be happy.
I'm very happy.
The Ayatollah's dead.
I'm so, what? Who? What? What is that?
Who is Ayatollah?
I've never heard that word in my life.
Lewis, what's Ayatollah?
I haven't heard. I found out about Chuck Norris yesterday. That was more devastating to me.
He was the supreme leader of Iran.
He's dead?
Elliot,
we killed him.
You did?
You killed him? Johnny. Whoa. If you were in charge, how would you take on Iran?
Yeah, all my girls, and we would all start putting belts on them.
We get a bunch of girls in bikinis, we make them run across the battlefield. All the guys are distracted. We all run in.
Look at him in his eyes, I guess. Flirt with him.
I'd blow him up.
I don't know enough about it, but I would probably wipe it out.
Drop a bomb, baby. Bomb the out of him.
I would bomb the out of him.
What have you heard?
Anyway, I don't want to go.
Oh my God!
But this is the future of America, everybody.
We're fucked. We're totally fucked. Oh my God!
You know what though? Somebody has stated that one of the oldest statements ever written was "kids these days," and it goes all the way back.
Does it go back to Art Linklater?
Yeah, like no, I mean like to Greeks.
Before Art Linklater?
Like to the Greeks.
Oh, to the Greeks. Oh my God. No
the
idea.
Romans were writing kids these days.
Oh my, well, maybe it's you know, an evolution thing or
maybe,
you know.
But that is a fine representation of what we have going. And like I said, I want to have some light things in here, even that's not necessarily light, that's actually kind of disturbing. But I'll go light here because this is a big deal to you. Baseball fans hate Netflix.
Dude, they went savage on Netflix. As I said yesterday, the Sunday Night Baseball is back on NBC after 38 years on ESPN. And now NBC, which has not had baseball since 2000, I believe. It's now back. So last night was opening day, yesterday and into the night, for NBC over the air, rabbit ears NBC. That's why I'm supporting this so much. But MLB sold the rights to opening day of various teams to every freaking streaming service in the country, depending on your team. So the worst, according to the viewers, was the Netflix opening day of the Yankees and the Gents up in San Francisco. People just lost their shit over the incredibly bad coverage by Netflix. Again, this is designed to get all of these people held hostage. So they had to sign up for these various streaming services that they don't want just to watch their team in opening day. Yankee fans are pretty vocal and violent. They were not happy about having to join fucking Netflix to watch their Yankees on opening day, and they let Netflix know about it. Netflix, I guess they don't give a shit because they must have gotten, you know, maybe 300,000 subscribers because they took this opening day. Hulu did it, Amazon did it, Apple did it, but at the end of the day, MLB fucking did it because they sold the rights to these games, these opening day games. The Dodgers were on NBC, and now they're back on Spectrum, which is, you know, the pay cable station that has the local teams. The Yankees have the Yes Network in New York. TBS covers Atlanta. It's a lot of different local deals with certain teams. But this scam yesterday by MLB has blown up in their face. The protests by Netflix watchers were hysterical, absolutely hysterical. They had no idea what was going on in these games.
Wow. Netflix, I don't think does very well in any sports because I think they were under fire. Didn't they have an NFL game that they screwed
I don't know.
up
I don't remember that, but this one particularly, there is a bug. It's called a bug, but it's really the box that has the information on the screen. It's like a score bug, and nobody could figure out what the hell this score bug was all about by Netflix that they invented. It's usually, as I said before, the graphics that they don't invest any time or money in because it's one game and out. So they don't give a shit. They'll hire a player. I think they had Barry Bonds talking with somebody else. So getting a player to be a commentator is easy peasy. But the graphics for the games that they don't invest in, plus they don't invest in a statistician, they don't invest in anyone doing chyrons. So the game itself, and this is really the problem that nobody's pointed out, the games themselves look so bad because they are not in it to win it. They're in it to get those subscribers for the one fucking game. So they're not going to hire a statistician to give you updates. They're not going to have a guy feeding the announcer information. They're not going to have chyron operators putting stuff on the screen in real time. And MLB says, fuck it, we don't care.
Well, because people just go watch it anyway. I mean, and I think I remember
you have
now.
to subscribe though, Eric. I mean, $16.99 to watch opening day, even if you cancel Netflix the next day, you now spend $17 to watch opening day.
It's like pay-per-view.
Yeah, it becomes pay-per-view.
And
Netflix is going, thank you very much. We paid MLB X amount of money, and we got Y amount, which I assume is larger, from this hostage subscriber thing.
Yeah, well, welcome to it. And I think I remember what happened in the football game now that I think about it. Something about how they were like doing these interviews with really famous football players and little bios, and everybody's like, I just want to watch the damn game. What
yeah.
They were like trying to make this drama or something out of the whole deal. While we're on drama, though, I don't know if you saw this. This is fun. We got another lawsuit. This comedian here is performing on stage.
Is this about the Lion King?
Yes.
Go ahead. This is great.
All right. This is the guy. He's performing on stage and he gets served.
Was less fortunate. What is this? What is this?
Service.
Oh, shit. I just got served. Oh, shit. Oh, my God. You just. For those who are wondering what this is for, I did a joke about the Lion King. I don't know. You saw it? That was me, yeah.
There's a lion.
Flashback.
You were way off.
All
All right. All right, you said, yeah, what I do, Papa? You made up.
He's the Billy Crystal of Nairobi.
Yeah,
he's the Jerry Seinfeld of fucking Ghana. This guy. Keep in mind.
There you go.
Oh my God! Hold on. Can you do that one more time? Do that again. What does it mean?
It means, look, there's a lion. Oh my God!
You're joking. That is not what that means. That is not what that means.
That's exactly what it means.
That's what it means.
It's obviously a damn joke.
Oh, they don't care. I mean, I read that there's an article in the Post today about it, and I
yes,
the thing that he said about the lion. Keep in mind, the Lion King is 20 years old. This is a composer, iconic Lion King chant, sues comedian over circle of like translation. As I've said on this channel, you have to get stage names, people. You can't use a comedic name, a name of a comedian from some other country that nobody can pronounce or say. I mean, this guy's name is Leon Moore Jonasai. Now, put that up on the marquee.
It's learn more. You've been
learn more Jonasai.
You're trying to say a leaning,
right?
Or leering.
Imagine spending a night of comedy with your girlfriend listening to this cat. That's right down the street. By the way, the Laugh Factory is right here on Sunset Boulevard in Hollywood.
What I love though is that's a $27 million lawsuit. By the way,
yeah,
$27 million.
How far is that going to go? How far is that going to advance?
Dude, I don't know. But with the Afro Man one, it's like, oh, come on now.
Yeah.
Come on now. And the joke wasn't even that bad.
Nate, I can find the guy for you to represent here in LA if you can get cleared by the California bar.
Okay. Well, there you go. Well, we've got that. We've got it in the entertainment world.
Oh, one last entertainment story. They announced today the Oscars are moving after 100 years from LA, from the center of Hollywood and Hollywood and Santa Monica proper to downtown LA into a crime zone where they will now be hosted by YouTube in the Peacock Theater at LA Live. And none of these people are going to venture in their limousines to this Mad Maxian downtown hellhole right next to Skid Row, where they signed a 10-year deal through graft and corruption with the owners of the theater to get upfront money. The Academy of Motion Picture and Arts and Sciences announced today they are leaving the incredible Kodak Theater, where they've been here on Hollywood and Vine, to this theater in downtown LA, where no one is going to come out of there alive.
Good luck gentrifying it. Anyway, well, somebody else who's shooting for his chance to appear at the Oscars down the road by being a scribe is
okay, this story is just insane. Do you want to explain this to anybody? I mean, nobody, everybody thought this was a parody. Nobody believed the story. I was one of the first ones to report it because I heard it from someone from the Writers Guild. This is insane. This is another inside Hollywood gift to their own. In other words, they are rewarding this guy with a screenplay deal for him and his son. Neither one of them has ever written a script. This is obviously a massive franchise. They are going to pay them, maybe $500,000 to $1 million for him and his son to bang out a script for this film franchise.
Well, that's what they have ChatGPT for.
Yeah.
Anyway, no, it's 100% real because he was on with Peter Jackson. Announcing it. I mean, unless it's the biggest troll of all time. And by the way, the fact that they're still making Lord of the Rings, has anyone considered the fact that Lord of the Rings are like 3 tomes of books, 3 large books?
Yeah.
The Hobbit is the smallest of the books.
That's right.
The Hobbit, however, the movies of the Hobbit is like 5 times the length that appears of the Lord of the Rings full series. And this is like another Hobbit book or whatever.
Well, he's going to move into he's going to try to move into influencing Hollywood directly. First through the screenplays, and then he's going to try to move into being a producer. Watch what happens with this guy.
No,
He's not done. He's not done. I don't know where he's going to work because obviously this scheme was concocted before the massive victory of David Ellison taking over Warner Brothers. So this is going to be very interesting to follow over the next few months.
All right. Well, while we're on entertainment and a collision with AI, which I'm always interested in, OpenAI has killed the Sora video app. So you know the AI slop that was on X for a while, like the cat who was playing the instruments, banging on the porch outside and stuff like that. That was all Sora.
What is Sora? That's a type of AI, a company?
Sora is OpenAI. OpenAI is ChatGPT. So it's OpenAI's video creation. And keep in mind that Sora, their video creation, this is how bad OpenAI is. They were spending up to $15 million a day in doing these videos because it costs that much compute power just so they could have something viral. And because people were making every random stupid thing out there and they were generating all, it was a complete loss. OpenAI is spinning out of control. Further on that, it appears that, you know, they were desperate trying to get money in and turn a profit one way or another. So one of their answers is that they were going to have ads in their output for ChatGPT with ads. What could go wrong there? But another option, adult chatbot, is something that they were going to put out, and it appears that that is not going to happen now after all. So
what is adult chatbot? What is that?
Adult material.
You mean porno or something?
Yeah, essentially. Yeah, but I guess verbally. So, you know, kind of
people are going to pay for verbal porn for someone to talk dirty to you, or
well, essentially, yeah. I mean, there are people who already have relationships with their chatbots.
Okay. Okay.
So that's pretty good. Somebody said they should call it Bobbit.
Okay.
So
I'll
anyway,
I'll accept that.
A lot of things moving on that front, and we'll have to see where it goes. Got the smuggled tech, and now
You know, this guy in Chicago, the mayor's got an 8% approval rating. Is this humanly possible?
Brandon, it's Brandon, right?
Yeah.
I think, yeah. Well, Brandon replaced Lori Lightfoot, and that was one of the biggest lessons I've had in the past few years. Been, you know, Lori Lightfoot looked like a Batman villain, and everybody is so thrilled that she got her ass kicked and thrown out. Turns out the replacement's even worse. So yes,
but I'm just talking about the approval rating. I mean,
well, he's awful, dude. I mean,
how did the guy get in and have an 8% approval rating? I wonder what Mandami's approval rating is now. I don't know what it is in New York. I'm curious to see what his is.
I'm not sure what.
It might be too soon for him, but
give him time.
Okay.
Yeah, give him time. I'm sure that he will.
8. That's crazy. That's crazy. How do you rule the city with the 8%? Who's going to listen to you?
Yeah, again, he got elected because of Lori Lightfoot. Then he started to go, and things are worse. So, go figure. But actually, Lori Lightfoot does remind me of another story I had, which is hilarious. I told you that Tiffany Hinyard has...
the mayor from Illinois, yeah.
Right. Well, the person who's investigating Tiffany Hinyard is Lori Lightfoot.
What is she,
Lori
prosecutor
Lightfoot
now?
actually,
She's Judge Judy?
She's working for the city as a contractor doing investigatory work.
Oh, come on. That's insane,
I'm
Eric.
not, dude, this is all
That's
real.
insane.
But here's what I love. I saw this earlier, and I was like, oh my God, you're kidding. Former Illinois super mayor, that's what she called herself, Tiffany Hinyard, calls on Pritzker to accept Trump's help. So you see, she's running as a Republican now.
Oh, she switched
for
over.
A county commissioner in Fulton County. And now she's trying to step in and say, hey, Governor Pritzker, take Trump's help because the crime's a problem in Illinois. Wow. So I love how she's trying to hitch her way to the MAGA wagon. And I do think she's trying to angle for a pardon or a commutation with Trump, because look, people are looking into her very, very hard. That's Dalton Village or whatever it was. I think they had a surplus of millions of dollars, and they're in debt millions of dollars now. So, and it was things like writing checks to herself at Walgreens potentially, and fleet of vehicles. She had people that were making overtime of, what was it? Somebody I think made like 200 hours on their paycheck in a pay period, like a 2-week pay period.
They're not good at corruption. They're not good at corruption. They don't know how to do it. But again, I forgot to mention the AI connection for you to the Meta trial. I'm surprised you didn't bring it up.
I covered it yesterday. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Well, here we are today. The
Sorry.
settlement is not done yet because the punitive has not come in on the settlement against Facebook, Meta, and YouTube, our parent company here.
Yes. And there's some far-reaching effects. It's $3 million as of yesterday. I don't know.
Right, but that's without the punitive. That was just the rule. That was the early. There's going to be a lot more coming from what the article said.
This is going to be interesting.
Yeah. It's a landmark case, Eric, for sure.
Well, it also opens the doors. How many people are addicted to social media right now?
Keep in mind, this is an LA jury right here in town. So this is Leftville ruling against leftist big tech.
There was another one in New Mexico that also ruled, I believe.
Okay. Well, it's also blue down there too. So
it is.
That's helpful.
Yeah.
Seems like a lot of girls involved in this thing.
Yeah, New Mexico prosecutors. Anyway, it is going to be very interesting because
he didn't look happy, that guy.
Ever.
Yeah, he didn't look happy, Zuckerberg.
Well, no, because the precedent is it's. I mean, $7 million, $3 million is a joke.
No, it's chump change.
But it's not chump change if they have a class action and they have to settle with 10,000 people for that.
Well, somebody said the punitive might be 14 million coming up. So the ruling is not done. On Monday, the court is going to reconvene for the punitive, I think.
That might be. Again, the precedent is the scary part. Once you open the doors and everybody floods through. And I think that it's interesting result too, because it's 70% against Meta and 30% against YouTube. And as I commented yesterday, it's nice seeing YouTube have to pay 30% of something versus.
Well, they also pointed out in court that the two companies conspired together, that they were not random separate events by coincidence.
Yeah, well, Silicon Valley's always working together. It's very interesting.
I think they could have been charged under the RICO Act because they conspired together in a criminal conspiracy.
It could be. I was going to point out, though, I think that the reason why it was only 30% for YouTube is because Meta is Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah, so Instagram's the main culprit in this thing for addiction. The kids are on Instagram.
I'm waiting for TikTok to get hit because they're
somebody will find them.
And X should be hit because X is highly addictive and weaponized, and the algorithms are put in. And that's
the first thing they do when you go to rehab is take away your phones, and you should see the fight that goes on if you worked in a rehab. The fight that goes on to get that phone away from them. They smuggle burner phones in their ass. They'll do anything to. Forget about drugs and alcohol. I'm talking about just the phone. And usually it's designed not to stop them from being online, but it's from calling drug dealers and blah, blah, blah. But they go through phone addiction detox from the phone being removed from them.
I believe it. For some, that might be even involved in the drug detox itself. I don't know. I mean, social media is a very real addiction. It's a lot like gambling. I think they're kind of in that a similar vein. But you're the addiction guy. You can tell me if I'm wrong.
Whoa.
You're not?
What?
I said you're the addiction guy. I defer to you on that.
Whether you're asking me if it's real?
Right. I was saying that.
Yeah,
but
that's why I said that story just now.
No, I know, but I said it was similar to gambling. in that?
Well, if there's the mind involved, usually, yeah, it's the equivalent of sex addiction, gambling addiction, and now internet addiction. So I think they will all go under the same umbrella.
And
What's
some
that?
people, there's some gaming addiction.
Gaming too.
problems
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Well,
All
I
right.
said internet gaming. Yeah.
Oh yeah, especially. And that was the reason, the big win on the lawsuit, because everybody's going, oh, you got poor personal choices and how are you doing it? The fact is, they proved, and it's been shown over and over and over again, it's not just that they made a product that's so cool that people can't get away from it. They have patents on how to addict people to the social media. It's literally written down. They have entire playbooks. They have scientists. That's their whole specialty, is how do we get people to keep clicking? How do we keep them here? How do we keep them involved?
I think a big chunk of the case was the fact that they were children too. Unformed mind. They were 10 years old, and they were targeting children. I mean, Vegas doesn't target children, and neither does tobacco any longer, but they certainly wanted to and did at the beginning.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the Joe Camel lawsuits were all about that. You know, the big cartoon Joe Camel, and
my cousin Bobby Cole, when he was at the ad agency, actually designed that camel.
Really?
Yeah. He was the ad director. I think it was Young and Rubicon. He was like a Madman art director at one of the Madman agencies who did Joe Camel, had the Camel account, and he was the one who designed the camel itself.
Wow. Well, I mean,
he was a former heroin addict, actually. Fascinating guy. Bobby Cohen changed his name to Bobby Cole to avoid anti-Semitic whiplash in the ad agencies on Madison Avenue, who never let Jews in, even into the 70s and 80s. So he changed his name to Bobby Cole. Very artistic guy. He wasn't a policy guy. He was an art director, and he designed that camel.
All right. Well, there you go. See, your cousin helped addict a lot of kids.
My cousin Bobby, who at one point was arrested in a drug sting in a heroin den in the 1940s, and was in a photograph in the Daily News being arrested by police in a heroin den in New York.
All right. Well, this
just
is
an odd trivia. He got clean, but I'm saying he got clean from heroin. This was as a Bobby Kennedy Jr. type teenage arrest.
Amazing.
I just thought of it. I haven't thought about him in years. You brought it up. I said, "Oh yeah, that's right, Bobby Cole." He was like the hip. He was like the hip uncle. You know what I mean? He was like the hipster uncle.
Oh, cool. All right. Well, while we're on hip people, we have some super chats here from One Warsaw, gifted 10 America's Untold Stories memberships. Thank you very much. And I think her name is Helena. Normally they don't show the names now the same way. Thank you so much. Very generous of you. I appreciate that. Warrior Big Mouth. Happy Friday, gentlemen. Will you guys be going to the Lancer conference this year?
What's the Lancer
finally
conference?
Be able to go this year. Big fan.
Oh, you won in Dallas?
Yeah, JFK Lancer.
I
doubt it.
I doubt that.
Yeah. We've been there twice, and I don't think we're gonna
no, it's not enough money.
So let me see. Pew Pew said nice hair, bro, but not you, Mark. Okay. Dr. Evil. Mark, is that your Three Amigos jacket?
It's my Three Amigos, given to me by Martin Short. No, this is my it's not even Mexican, as a matter of fact. I think it's more European.
Like Spanish?
Yeah.
Spain. Okay. Taylor Pollock. Where do you see the Iran war going?
Another few weeks. They'll wrap it up, get out of there. I know people were predicting World War III for the 10th time. Not going to happen. I'm sorry for your loss. We will arrange some sort of international escort for years through the Gulf through the strait involving multinational shipping. So they don't allow us. They don't allow Iran to charge a toll, like it's a toll booth for shipping going through, which has been leaked out of the Iranian authorities, whatever's left of them, that they were going to charge shipping to go through there in perpetuity. Rubio today said emphatically that's never going to happen. He made a point about talking about having nations of the Gulf and other European nations provide security to prevent them from charging money to get through the Strait of Hormuz. But I think that this situation will be wrapped up within 2 to 4 weeks, and that'll be the end of it.
As I said on Tuesday, I'm not sure where it's going to be. We got to let it play out on some time. I do know it appears they are negotiating in the background. Everything's a negotiation, including the escalation of troops and everything. And
it's all saber rattling and negotiating. I can't believe people don't see this. As I've said before on this channel, they still don't get the fact the guy who wrote a book, The Art of the Deal, who has done this so many times, they still do not see. And I don't mean this negatively or positively about Trump's tactics, but the fact that they don't see it is shocking to me. You know, how he operates. I just find this to be either they're blind from Trump derangement syndrome, which is a possibility, or they just refuse to acknowledge the way he does these types of diplomatic things.
Yeah, I think that the big deadline that is really, kind of an important one is 60 days. And we're not into that point yet, but that's when we'll, I think that.
Yeah, but I mean, like I said, his style is to create a deadline. If you don't meet it, he ratchets up pressure. You do meet it, he turns it down. He raises the temperature. He lowers the temperature.
Sure.
I mean, surely people must see that. I mean, this idea that he's running around like a chicken without his head is insane. I've never seen a more precise military operation by the Pentagon in my life. I mean, for pound, loss for loss, this is going to go into the history books as one of the most efficiently precise United States military operations in the history of this country. Whether you like it or not, that's a separate issue. Whether you agree politically, you can get on board with the simple idea that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. If you think they can have a nuclear weapon, if you think you can negotiate with them, you may want to talk to 5 presidential administrations who thought the same thing, because apparently that didn't work out. They will placate and they will obfuscate as long as it takes to get a nuclear weapon. I don't blame them. I would do the same thing if I was a mullah. If I was a mullah, deedle diddle deedle diddle deedle diddle do. These are theocratic fascists who are running this regime, and they want to get a nuclear weapon. Everybody's talked about preventing it. This guy has done something about it.
Fair enough. When I said deadlines, I was talking about the 60-day from the start of the work.
I understand. I understand.
Just to clarify.
Yeah.
All right. Beavis came in hot. I'm skipping a bunch of super chats to go here because, I mean, $100 from Beavis Wallace. Thank you so much. Howdy from Texas. I heard Russia is no longer going to help Iran. Your thoughts? Also, the dumb kids go to spring break while the rest of us work and study for the midterms. I loved watching them in class, hungover and sunburned, just showing AUS some love. And that's some real love. Thank you.
Yeah, the Russia no longer helping Iran, I don't think is a real issue. I don't think it ever existed. I don't know what help they could have given them. They floated some tankers to Cuba that were already at sea. Cuba is not getting free oil anymore from anyone, and they are starting to show the effects of not getting free oil from the former Soviet Union or from Venezuela or from anywhere. As for helping Iran, again, it was never proven to me what help that could be. Intelligence, okay, what does that do for Iran? I mean, you can't get anything in there. The Chinese can't send them missiles. The Russians can't send them weapons. So it's not North Vietnam anymore. There's not a Ho Chi Minh Trail. I think that was more fake news than anything else, Beavis.
My issue was the claims were that Russia was giving them intelligence on where to hit, and my thought is, then they did a really shitty job of it because the Russians were hitting civilian targets all over these other countries. So it's like,
not the Russians, the Iranians, you mean?
I'm sorry, yeah, the Iranians were hitting the civilian targets. So what kind of great intel? Because I don't know, has any U.S. military installation over there been hit at all?
It's silly. You're right. It's silly. They have nothing left. They're beaten down. They're done. It's like the Black Knight in the Monty Python and the Holy Grail. I mean, it's the guy's arms are cut off, and it's just a flesh wound. I mean, it's silly. It's silly. They're operating from no position of strength, other than preying on the political left in the United States to help them weather this storm, which has helped them weather every single storm since the 1979 revolution deposing the Shah. They're only in power because of the American left.
Maybe they're still a pain in the ass with the Straits of Hormuz. So I will say that with the drones and things like that, and hopefully that can be taken care of. But there are some residual things in there. Beavis Wallace, I think smartphones and tablet and $100 again. Thank you so much. I mean, this is huge for this show. I think smartphones and tablets are great to entertain children. As a child, I had to sit in silence at every dinner and lunch, not allowed to speak unless spoken to first. So I would memorize songs and movies and play them in my head. Anyone else do this as well? You're making a good argument for the other side, Beavis.
Yeah.
There have been studies that boredom
absolutely
is critical, and unfortunately,
how about reading a book? How about
nobody is bored anymore, and boredom has creativity or spawns creativity.
How about reading a child's book? How about reading children's books? That's what we used to do before this hypno tablet world was created for children.
Yeah. I mean, it is kind of it started in a lot of ways with television, sit them in front of the television and go shut up. And now, I mean, the screen is just like even more, and the weaponized mind control, everything that's put in there is scary. Taking away everything and leaving a kid with nothing but a stick and a rock is sometimes the best thing that you can do, because they got to come up with something. They come up with a game
outdoor.
or
I wrote a piece years ago, a show, but we were supposed to make it into a TV show called America's Street Games, and how they've diminished since this rise of the computer age, because we used to go outside and play these street games: Ring Olivio, Johnny on the Pony, Red Light, Green Light, Scully, Box Ball, Stoop Ball, Stick Ball, Hide and Seek, Red Rover. All of that has been dissipated because of the tablet that Beavis is suggesting. And in those street games, outdoors, you find interaction among children, learning how to socialize, learning how to be athletic, learning how to win and lose, learning how to play fair, learning not to isolate inside of your house, exposed to the sun, to the weather. All of that is gone because big tech decided to make tablets for children. In America's Street Games, in this TV show that I had.
Well, we have an episode.
Oh, we do?
Literally.
Oh,
Yes.
I didn't know that. Oh, okay.
We have
look
an
at the
episode called America's Street Games. on the channel
You know
if
what?
wanna
I just
check it out.
remember that. Sorry, sometimes my memory
That's fine.
doesn't line up with the actual shows that we've done. But yeah, look at the show, because you'll see what's missing from America's child culture because of these tablets and electronics that they have hooked American kids on. But more importantly, the parents who don't want to be bothered, who slap the kid with the tablet and put them in the corner so they'll be quiet.
Right, and we can go even further than that with medication like Ritalin and
Oh, yeah.
ADD treatments, and so the tablet nature or phone nature that Mark's talking about is only the latest.
That's
It's
latest. Yeah, that's recent. That's recent.
This is new. I mean, it was already a giant problem of lock him in the classroom, just sit down, shut up, taking away recesses, which were critical for well, like my growing up, especially boys, because boys have been harmed even more than girls in this particular vein of, boys would go in, do class for an hour or two, and then they'd have to go outside, run their asses off playing soccer or whatever before they be calmed down enough to sit in a classroom. Now they do not like having that energy, and they don't want to bother with the recess, so they just let them sit there in the classroom, and then there's all this pent up energy, and so they medicate it. So there's so many problems. It's scary. Carl Burkhalter, Union General Sedgwick's last words: "They couldn't hit an elephant at this distance." Okay, that's talking about the sniping of the generals and whatever.
Oh, you mean because he was so far in the?
I think
again,
so,
I'm
yeah.
not talking about the Civil War. This is something about the Revolutionary War that the guy was referring to with the British, with foreign governments.
Right.
To be specific, again, this is not me saying this. I'm just repeating it for those out there.
No, I know, but I was just referencing what they were commenting on that.
Yeah.
Because I brought up the Civil War and.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah, I said Stonewall Jackson being a leader
right.
of an enemy, a general. You mentioned the general, so I was trying to draw parallels. Stacy Michaels gifted 10 America's Untold Stories memberships. Thank you very, very much, Stacy. She's been great lately.
Really?
Coming in the clutch here. Definitely appreciate
Mm-hmm.
it. Nick Giusti, little known fact. That judge with a woman driver once played Columbo on TV back in the 70s. Happy Friday.
The judge with the woman driver. The judge played Columbo, or the woman?
Oh, the
Once
judge
played Columbo on TV.
Maybe he was on an episode of
Oh,
Columbo.
yeah, it's possible.
I'm kind of confused on that.
Yeah,
Nick
it's a
Giusti.
tough
Or
one.
there was
You
a
better
joke
pay
that I
$10
missed.
more, Nick, to give us the rest of the story.
Yeah, or
Otherwise, I'm completely baffled, and we'll have to cut you off at the knees. But
it might be a joke
for
that
another
I missed.
$5. Maybe you can elaborate on what you're mumbling here.
Fair enough. This is Mark's method. How it works. Lisa Deed. Mar-a-Lago race had a 20 to 30% GOP turnout. You won't win if you stay home.
They couldn't even be bothered to vote. The lowest common denominator on the face of the earth. These fat fucks can't even vote. It's shocking to me. It's shocking. They didn't receive enough pain from the Democrats. They just said, I could take another paddling on my ass. I'll take another, sir.
We've already
can't
seen
even
that.
bother to vote. I mean, how hard is it?
They turn out for Trump, but they don't turn out for the others.
Well, who cares who it is? It's again, what difference does it make? They can't even be bothered to do the simplest thing, but they can complain and whine and write a strongly worded letter.
Versus the Democrats, which will come out, and no vote is too small for a Democrat.
Why can't they copy that? I don't understand. What is that a social thing? Is that it's just it's conservatives can't be bothered to vote? What is it? They don't.
If the stakes aren't high enough, they don't care. That's what it really comes down to.
God.
That's why I've said if there's
what
a
did
dog
I get myself
catcher,
into over here?
Well, you know it. If there's a dog catcher that could be elected, a Democrat's going to go for it.
Right.
They will go for any political. It doesn't matter if they can get their foot in the door of anything political. They will.
Why can't the Republicans do
the
that?
Republicans
I don't
don't care.
understand.
It's small potatoes for them. Republicans are, in general, and obviously there's exceptions, they tend to lean in for it's got to be worth my while. I could be running a business. I could be making the money. They're much more focused in general on money, things like that. And they see things as small potatoes.
How long do you think it takes to vote? Let me ask something. How long do you think it takes to vote?
I don't know. It takes me very little time because I go in off hours, but whatever.
Oh my God. All right.
I mean, it's not a big deal. Stacy Michaels gifted 5 more memberships. Thank you, Stacy. You're on a roll here.
Yeah.
Do appreciate that. One awesome guy said, just covered the government VIG. Love your content, Mark. Your analysis on current battle between communist Dems versus the influencer fascists is incredibly insightful and mind-blowing.
Thanks, man. Thank you. I was thinking about it for a long time, and now others, I said to Eric before the show, are starting to use phrases like the woke Reich and neo-fascist right, and it's catching on. People, not that catching on for me. It's just like I said to Eric before the show. It's in the air. It's pretty obvious. And there's a history of this on the American right, and we've talked about it before.
Well, I think that people have overstepped the boundaries. So, it's like there's a lot of tolerance out there, but you have the grifter class, whatever you want to call them, the Candaces of the world, etc., who I feel have gotten to the point now where they've rubbed people's faces in it so much that
No, but I agree.
Their
But
support.
Buchanan supported Nazi war
Sure,
criminals.
sure.
There was no grifter class. Rockwell supported the American Nazis. There was no grifter class. Charles Lindbergh supported the real Nazis. It was not a grifter class. Again, this is a political movement. Whether there's money involved is a separate issue. They are citing these people as their intellectual basis for their political viewpoints today. They keep citing Pat Buchanan. They cite Charles Lindbergh. They cite these other Nazi-leaning right-wing people as their intellectual basis. So I can only agree with them that they are trying to lay down fascist tracks politically in the United States to, I believe, and it could be ruled to be correct, to fight this communist menace that has gotten inside the United States political and social system. It may be the only way to fight these guys. I'm just trying to identify what it is.
Okay. Well, and I'm just saying that the backlash is coming because the grifter class is going into that vein, and it's pushing too far. It's going over the edge, and people are saying no. I mean, people tolerated Buchanan for a while until they didn't. People did.
Well, it said that I sent you a graph of Megyn Kelly's memberships going through the roof. I mean, so people were putting out things that she was in decline, but apparently the money and the memberships of her is skyrocketing and going in the other direction.
Depends on where you look.
Oh, all right.
Well, I'm just saying, because yes, I don't have visibility in anybody's numbers.
Yeah,
I can't say that for sure. Yeah, and people can load a lot of things there, like Candace Owens. They pointed out, she was the number one podcast there for a minute, above Joe Rogan, and now the numbers are further down, but she still has millions of people on YouTube, things like that, and all of these channels are very big. Megyn Kelly has gotten into 3-4 million or whatever subscribers and things like that. It's hard to know, though, internally, if they're powerful across the board or anything else. We just don't have visibility on them. But Al Gonzalez, I hope Trump tells Europe that Ukraine is not America's war. Their failure to assist in Iran must be addressed when it is over. When this is over. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if they want any help from these guys. Listening to Marco Rubio this morning saying this is our project, we don't want your help, straight up, meaning the EU, NATO. And as for Europe, Ukraine is not America's war. I think he has said that a number of times.
Yeah, well, we've got a lot of things going on. And then Dr. Evil says, Mark is right. Borden makes you smarter. I thought I said that. Whatever.
I don't know about that, but Al Gonzalez, check out our French Connection episode yesterday that Viva and I did. It's a lot of inside NYPD stuff that you might enjoy.
Cool. Fair enough. All right. Well, we are going to continue our chat over on Locals. Again, unstructured.locals.com. Just for the paid members, not for everybody. I do put a lot of things out for everybody that people can watch. You can watch these episodes with no ads. Everybody complains about the ads. You can watch it with no ads over there, plus the after party where we hang out at Locals and talk to people for a while. But we also have things for the paid members. So Joe Kent, the Greg Kelly and Joe Kent's book, I put something up there for the paid members on that you may want to check out. And we've got the Oswald audio drama, the LBJ audio drama. Paid members can create their own posts as well, participate in the chat with each other. And it's just a cool community as a whole. So I hope you consider doing that. If not, we will be back here on Tuesday, and we hope to see you then.